Nice start. Okay, welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video. I'm going to be talking about the Xbox in the near future. The original Xbox, because I have it and I haven't really touched on it much. But before I do, I wanted to just touch on one particular part of the Xbox that I haven't really dabbled too deeply in, and that is driving games using this, the NeGcon controller. Now, the NeGcon was originally designed to be used with the PlayStation 1, and I found out from a guy, and I'll go into more detail in a minute, but I found out from a guy on YouTube, you can actually do a bizarre hookup of some different adapters and make this thing work on a PlayStation 3, and it works really well. I'll put a link below to my video from about a year ago where I actually hooked this monstrosity of different adapters all up, and I played a lot of PS3 games, and it's really good. But I just thought, you know, one thing you need to do in order to make this whole system work is you need to hook up one adapter that was originally designed to make this thing work on the Xbox. So I thought, well, since I'm going to be talking about the Xbox, I might as well actually see how is this particular setup, I'll show you in a second, how is it for driving games? And this is Need for Speed Underground 2 we've got here. I just wanted to let you know it does actually work just as well as it does on the PlayStation 3. Now, it's not perfect, especially with slightly older games that are not designed with strictly steering wheel in mind. Like, it's one of the games, for example, that I played. Oh, darn it! Well, it's ironic I just crashed. One of the games I played on my PS3 video was Need for Speed, sorry, not Need for Speed, it was Burnout Paradise. And you do a lot of crashing like that. What I found with Burnout Paradise is that game is designed, like the navigation, wherever you want to select a race or say yes or no or whatever, they think you maybe only have a steering wheel, so they've designed that game so you can make your selections in the menu without having to use like a D-pad and go up and down and that kind of stuff. The problem with Xbox is it didn't really have a weird controller like this in mind. I know steering wheels have been around well before the original Xbox, but most of the games I've tried with this particular setup don't really... They're assuming you've got the ability to go up and down your menu and say yes or no to stuff. In fact, I'll show you a game that's really blatantly makes my point. However, what I wanted to do in this video is just try out the NeGcon. How is it for driving? How's the responsiveness? How does it handle corners? And how am I able to not crash into more things here? So yeah, again, for Need for Speed Underground, which I'm playing right now, it's really good. Like, it feels just like the same level of control that you have on the PS3. Smashed again. And also on the PS1. I've done a lot of driving games, some of the Need for Speed titles actually, on PS1. Just as much range and ability to increase and decrease your speed, all the things you need in a racing game work perfectly well with the PS1. Makes sense, that's what this controller was designed for. And also the PS3 with this weird hookup of cables, which I'm about to show you, you get a really good level of control. So how is it on Xbox games? It's so far pretty good. I'm really liking how it handles in Need for Speed Underground. Now, let me... Again, there is a video I will link to below that goes into this thing in much more detail, but I will just briefly show you now what this setup looks like for these cables, so that if you wanted to maybe get this little setup working for yourself, you can. Okay, so here, as promised, I'm going to show you this pseudo-Frankenstein connection. Now, it's much worse for the PlayStation 3. To play Xbox games, you really just need one thing. Let me get my Duke controller out of here, and we won't be using that. Let me unplug it. Here is our NeGcon, and of course, being a PlayStation 1 controller, it of course has a PlayStation 1 end on it. How are you going to get that in there? Well, with big thanks to a guy called Steve, who now runs a channel called Wired Up Retro, he made a video many years ago about this. This is the X connection from Innovation. And basically, it is exactly what you see here. It's Xbox out, PlayStation in. So I essentially take my NeGcon, plug it in here, plug this end into the Xbox, and now I've got my NeGcon playable on the Xbox, thanks to this little Innovation X connection. Again, huge thank you to Wired Up Retro, because they, had I not known or had I not heard about this X connection, I would never know that a great controller like this NeGcon steering wheel thingy with its rotating handle here, I didn't know this would be usable on other consoles. And the Xbox and the PlayStation 3 have got some amazing looking driving games. This hookup will also work with a PlayStation 2. I don't think you need the X connection for that. What I'll do is, I've already linked to my video where I go into detail of how to make this work on a PS3. I will also link below to the original video that Steve did that went into all the details about this X connection here. And I'll also link to Steve's new channel called Wired Up Retro, where he specializes in this kind of thing. How do you want to hook up different controllers to different kinds of consoles? What Steve did talk about in his video where I first found out about this is that there are multiple connectors that allow you to hook up, at least as far as physically, different kinds of controllers to different types of consoles. But the key is this X connection by Innovation. You absolutely need to get this to make the whole thing work. And this is apparently a bit of a rarity. Now, I got this on eBay a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago, for not too much money. I think it was maybe 50 or 60 bucks. So for a rare connection or for a rare adapter, this isn't too expensive. But it's very important to note it needs to be from Innovation and it needs to say X connection in the corner here. Steve did go into, apparently I think there was maybe some lawsuit or something. The company Innovation didn't make this anymore. So instead of making the X connection, they had a new one called the Innovation connection. And that's nice, but it will not allow you to play a NeGcon on an Xbox. So you absolutely have to have this X connection from Innovation to make the whole thing work. And same again for the PlayStation 3, but again, I've already gone into that detail in my video before. So yeah, here's one of them. This is the Simpsons Hit and Run, which is a neat crazy taxi type of a game. This demonstrates what the vast problem is with a lot of games that you might want to try this little control scheme out with. So, unfortunately, this game thinks you have thumbsticks, and so therefore, although I can maybe make Homer walk this direction or this direction, and yes, he could interact with Marge, he can't go like forward and backwards. So there's the main problem with the vast majority of these games. You're not going to be able to use them because this has a steering wheel only control. The good news is you can swap out your regular controller, at least to get through this stuff, and then when you're ready, just hot swap the two connectors. But it does show what the main problem is with a lot of games, that if you're interested in doing this, you're going to run into that problem. But the good news is Colin Mcrae Rally 2005 is mostly navigable just using this controller. Now, it would be nice if I could use the controller to rotate through and select the different items. It doesn't seem to be able to do so, so I will still have to switch to that other standard controller just to make my selections. But once we're actually in, we can actually play the game fully just using this controller. This is a really good game to also show what the controller is good at. Now, unfortunately, I'm not very good at driving and talking at the same time, but you can see, this is a really good control scheme for trying to get around all of these bends. It's definitely the way to go if I could keep myself from going into the trees all the time. Let's see if I can just concentrate enough to get off out of these ruts
75 left.
and do a bit of driving here.
Into long 6 right tightens the 3. And 6 left, 50. Long 6 left, keep it, straight 70.
Yeah, no, this does feel very, very good.
50.
It's a bit slippy because I haven't played this game too much. Ah, keep hitting the poles. Come on.
6 left, and long 4 right, split.
It also requires a lot of concentration that it's hard for me to do while talking, so I will vouch for the fact that this is a really good controller for this Xbox game, just like it was for Dirt 2 when I played that on the PS3. You really have a good level of precision control here, and it feels just as responsive and accurate as it does for the PS3 and the PS1. So that's essentially what this video is about. I just wanted to try out, with that weird cable hookup idea, how does the NeGcon setup work for the original Xbox? Especially since I'm going to be playing a lot more Xbox stuff. And I can report it plays very well. I am pretty pleased with this. Now, if I can just keep myself on the road long enough to do an outro, I don't think I'm going to. Oh, watch out for the people. There we go, that's not so bad. Right, so look forward to some original Xbox videos coming very soon on my channel. And until next time, we'll see you down the rabbit hole.
Into long 6 left, tightens the 3.